Newspaper reviews next. It's brought to you by Total Quartz. For optimum performance and efficiency of your car, visit your nearest Total service station and ensure your car is well protected. Join the Total Quartz Nation movement now. Total Quartz, keep your engine younger for longer. But the song they beat too much. They beat, I love the song. Anyway, we'll come back to this song later. we have a message.
Yeah, but this is a strong State of the Nation address.
Powerful.
From Smart.
It's deadly.
He delivered it way before 22 the Constitution.
I tell you. Smart in cancer is a big man. Anyway, so it's time for this review. My name is Bernard. I'm here with Godfred and Kojo.
Yes,
gentlemen,
yes.
welcome.
Thank you very much, Bernard.
Let's jump straight into the headlines.
Front page of the Daily Graphic, Bernard. We are losing some big money. Illegal fishing by foreign vessels. State loses $50 million yearly. Artisanal fishers bear brunt. Meningitis outbreak in Central Region. 2 dead. U.S. military uses portions of Terminal 1. Aviation Minister. Conscience of Mahama clean towards 2020 polls. NDC replies President.
Now, the Ghanaian Times, coronavirus outbreak in China. No plans to evacuate Ghanaian students. This is according to the government of Ghana. President delivers State of the Nation address today. NPA vows to clamp down on adulteration of petroleum products. And Boafo, Kweku Boateng case, court dismisses motion for stay of proceedings. Sad news coming from the Nkoko area. Man, grandson died in fire outbreak at Nkoko.
Front page of the Daily Guide. President delivers State of the Nation today amid NDC threats. MPP lambasts NDC on Galamsey politic. Becky wants 4 more for Nana. Ghana is also seeking $105 million from IFAD for planting for food and jobs. Court throws out of Fosu and Boafo, and 2 million kids missed polio vaccines in 2016.
Now, the Chronicle, Galamsey whistleblower fished out, repatriated to Accra. So this is the third story on this story this week. Backbiting at Ghana immigration as new head blocks chop. Akufo-Addo must apologize to me. This is former President Mahama. And Mahama must speak to Airbus scandal. This is the NPP. And NPA moves to stop petroleum adulteration.
Front page of the Daily Statesman comes with a photo of a serious-looking agric minister planting for food and jobs to get $105 million boost. You can't score political points out of Galamsey. NPP fires Mahama. 4 more to do more. Akufo-Addo presents State of the Nation address today.
Now, the new crusading guide. Government under fire over trade fair demolition, but Ghana Trade Fair Company Limited says process was fair. NPP polls. Ken Kranche files to contest Okaikwe North seat. NPP tackles NDC over Galamsey fight hypocrisy, and Boafo flawed again. Court insists trial can continue.
Front page of the BNFT on GX, which is the Ghana Alternative Market. The Ghana Stock Exchange preaches quality over quantity. Local banks to support businesses more as ATI enters market to provide credit insurance. And then the Kojo International Terminal 1 rent agreement to generate $5.3 million US.
Now, the daybreak, Galamsey fight. You gave up. NPP to Mahama. NPA launches petroleum product marking scheme phase 2. And Akufo-Addo delivers State of the Nation address today. If you go to the Business Finder, NPA clamps down on criminality, fights subsidy abuse, adulteration with new technology. Ghana bags $5.8 billion from oil. We'll give you more details on this. And we have high expectations, Chamber of Commerce.
A lot of the websites are leading with Asante Mampong and Adansia Sokwa MPP. Asante Mampong, supporters of MPP aspirants clash over filing of nomination forms. That's citynewsroom.com's lead story. Also, Katie Hammond blamed MPP Adansia Sokwa chairman for recent chaos. Meanwhile, Minority One Minister of Trade summoned over demolition at trade fair. And of course, there's an interesting write-up. Kojo Ajiman writes how the Stop Galamsey fight crumbled. And we didn't demolish structures for partisan reasons. Trade Fair Company retorts. CitiBusinessNews.com. Ideal finance collapse. Yoko pursues new Kote journey for more assets and accounts. Also, we have a list of all 28 companies affected by the Trade Fair demolition. And Ghana Stock Exchange say they will integrate West Africa stock exchanges by close of this year. Major Online also leads with MPP primaries. Supporters of Adainimo, an incumbent MP, in bloody brawl. Also, anti-malarial drugs are effective on coronavirus patients, and Iyoko freezes assets of First Trust Savings and Loans CEO Johnny. Indeed, this NPP story in Mampong is leading. If you go to even Star FM, their website, classes of Asante Mampong MPP constituency office, 5 injured. That story is doing well on most of the local papers, as it is even on peaceFMonline.com. So maybe you want to talk about that.
Start from there.
Well, that
it didn't make it to a lot of the dailies.
Well, because the video,
yeah.
let me just start. The video has been circulating, and also there's a very troubling WhatsApp message that people are sending concerning this. So let me just give you the details. This one is on citinewsroom.com, and it says Asante Mampong supporters of MPP MP aspirants clash over filing of nomination forms. At least 6 persons have been injured during a free-for-all fight at the Asante Mampong constituency office of the NPP in Ashanti. Supporters of 2 parliamentary aspirants eyeing the seat clashed on Wednesday afternoon over issues with the filing of nomination forms. The incumbent MP Sapom Amprechum and the former member of parliament Adainimo were both at the party's office to file their nominations, but party executives allegedly rejected the forms when Adainimo was going through the process. The development resulted in confusion between supporters of both aspirants. Some of the supporters sustained injuries in the process. Speaking to journalists, Adainimo blamed the executives for the development, and he initially denied access to the nomination. He said he was initially denied access to the nomination forms when he went to pick them at the party office. He later went to secure the forms at the party's regional office. Now, in trying to submit the forms, there were some issues which led to the brawl. Now, the incident comes after the general secretary of the party, of the MPP after the general secretary of the MPP in the Adansia Sokwa constituency was attacked by some other MPP supporters over confusion during the submission of forms by the aspirant on Monday. The secretary, Samuel Awui, was seen in a video being beaten by men wearing shirts with the aspirant Sami Bingpong's image on it, or Sami Bingfo's image on it. Samuel Awui was alleged to have declined to endorse the nomination form of Sami Bingfo when he received it at the party office. He purportedly said he wanted to peruse the forms at home before signing them, leading to the anger of the aspirants. And then Mr. Katie Hammond is commenting on this. MP for Adansia Sokwa Katie Hammond is accusing the constituency chairman for the confusion that occurred at the party office when his opponent Sami Bingfo tried to submit his nomination forms at the office recently. The chaos led to the assault of the constituency secretary by some MPP supporters. The secretary Sami Awi was seen in a video being beaten by men wearing shirts with Sami Bingfo, as I said. Now, Mr. Hammond on Eyewitness News said the constituency chairman must be blamed for the unfortunate incident because he has no doubt he was the one pushing the aspirants to contest him. And then there's a story on Mr. John Buedu's call generally for people who can't access the forms to come to the party headquarters for the forms.
But the filing, no,
yeah,
is the problem.
So these are just 2 constituencies of many. Most of the others have gone on quite well.
Yeah.
So we may talk about this later on.
Yes, well, let me also then take you to the Daily Graphic page 19, where NDC Nefutu has issues because the parliamentary candidate has stepped down. Yes, the parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress in the Futu constituency of the Central Region, Mr. Victor Yankson, has stepped down with barely 10 months to the 2020 general elections. According to sources within the NDC in the constituency, Mr. Yankson, who was elected about 4 months ago, tendered in a letter addressed to the General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. James Netidun Ketia, last Monday, announcing his decision to step down. Now, according to some insiders, the parliamentary candidate had not shown much commitment to the cause of the party, resulting in a rift between him and leadership.
Well, Apenyo Maki must be smiling all the way to the bank. There's a story yesterday that came up that NDC was looking for somebody else to replace this person.
Yes.
Because there may not be time to do a process.
Well, since we've started on politics,
yes, let's just continue in that area.
Okay, let's continue on politics. NDC condemns demolition of businesses at Trade Fair Center. This is page 11 of the Ghanaian Times. The story says the National Democratic Congress has condemned the demolition of the offices and businesses in the precinct of the Ghana International Trade Fair Center, Avle, in Accra. It described the Sunday dawn exercise as a bizarre and capricious application of state power by the Kufuor-led government in the victimization of political opponents.
Well, the minority has asked the trade minister to appear before parliament to answer questions on the very story you read. The story is on citynewsroom.com. It says, Minority Caucus on Trade, Industry and Tourism is set to push for the Minister of Trade to be summoned before the House to provide answers for the recent demolition at Trade Fair. The caucus intends to achieve this through filing an urgent question, and the background of the story is given. Now, a member of the committee, Kofi Boa, described the exercise as simply unjust. Now, still on that story, since we are here, let me just run through a couple more. City Business News has the list of the 28 companies which were affected or which were demolished by the Trade Fair. The story is written by Ebenezer Afeni Dazi, and it gives the names of the company to include Green Dome, that's the name of the building, ownership Ghana Trade Fair Company, tenant is called Boya, and the company is foreign. So basically there's a categorization of who the owner is, who the tenant is, whether the person is local or foreign. There's Premfisa, there's Madeco, there's GFTC Warehouse, there's Sanyo, there's VRA Building, there's also Winnigall Building, there's a Attack Building, there's a 21st Century Building, Color Planet 1 and 2, there's also a Jedu of Ships, there's a Fire Service Building, Amber Royal Cuisine, Imandi, Best Link Ventures, Restoration Power Church, West African Commodities, Mozan, Sandy Arts, ECG, Agou, Sikato. Charlie, more companies.
Okay.
So some of the buildings, in fact, all will go eventually. So here are the 28 companies.
All shall go.
Yeah.
Well, page 3 of the Daily Guide, still on politics, the MPP has responded to the press conference organized by the NDC. MPP lambast NDC on Galamsey politics. This was addressed by Mr. Yaboabia Samoa, who has described as unfortunate the opposition NDC's leadership preference for petty politics, which, as he put it, would rather deal in politics that divide us rather than the things that unite us. He emphasized the importance of clean water against the backdrop of how illegal mining is polluting water bodies in the country. He said not winning the fight for clean water is not an option. Okay, we hear. And also he took some swipes at the NDC. He mocked them, saying that they had always stood against innovations, pointing out, for instance, their opposition to the free SHS, among other things.
Well, now this is what we wanted to avoid. There's a good article by Kojo Ajiman on how the Stop Galamsey fight crumbled, and it gives a nice chronicle of what went wrong and how initial gains were overtaken by what we are seeing now. So you may want to read that on citynewsroom.com to get a clearer sense of where we are with that issue.
Okay, so I'll take you to a Galamsey story in the Chronicle. So earlier this week, they reported that a whistleblower was missing from camp. And today we have an update on that. John Bediako writes, Galamsey whistleblower fished out, repatriated to Accra. He writes that the Chronicle can confirm that the policeman with Operation Vanguard who leveled bribery allegation against his officer commanding was officially repatriated from the ground in Obuasi to his home unit at the police headquarters to face disciplinary action for leaving the camp without permission. Number 34093 Detective Sergeant David Jokoto of the Marine Police Unit on Operation Vanguard duties absconded when he was being interrogated by a board of inquiry set up by the Interministerial Committee in the allegation of bribery he made against an officer. During his period of absence, Sergeant Jokoto failed to communicate with the Regimental Sergeant Major, the Police Deputy Commanding Officer of Operation Vanguard, and the Commanding Officer. Intelligence to the task force indicated that he was in touch with an unnamed police operations commander in Accra, but what the communication contained was not known since he did not relay any message to the Operation Vanguard team.
Do you know my problem, Bernard? He deserves to be punished for leaving. I don't understand why they put his name out.
That will not help you. Now, final story on Galamsey.
Whistleblower.
On my Joe Online, it says 3 NDC, 2 MPP members arrested in fresh anti-Galamsey soup. So the anti-Galamsey task force has confirmed the arrest of 5 people in relation to illegal mining at Akoto and the SC region. The leader of the Special Monitoring Evaluation and Monitoring Evacuation and Operation Team of the Operation Vanguard, Nanaya Obuedu, confirmed that the arrested persons were affiliated to the 2 biggest political parties, 2 of them MPP, 3 of them NDC. He did not disclose the identity of the persons, but added that members of parliament from both sides of the aisle are also on their radar in the fight against illegal mining. So that was an interview granted.
All right, front page of the Daily Graphic, let me take you to Fishing Galamsey. State loses $50 million yearly, artisanal Fishers Bay branch. illegal fishing activities by some foreign vessels in the country's marine territory is denying the state of more than $50 million annually. The activities, which border on catching small fish and selling them at sea at ridiculous prices to canoe fishermen, is also contributing to the dwindling fish stock and catches which have plagued the local fishing industry for the last 10 to 15 years. The practice, referred to as transshipment, locally known as psycho, involves industrial vessels selling the unwanted catch to canoe owners on the high
seas. It's a big issue. Yesterday we discussed fishing on the breakfast show. It's been a campaign we've been trying to champion with other partners.
Yes, and it looks like there's a study called Stolen at Sea, and the study estimates that 90% of industrial fleets in Ghana's marine are linked to Chinese owners. He said it will take all stakeholders to find a solution to the phenomenon, which had over the years developed into a lucrative industry, with industrial trawlers targeting species including severely depleted small pelagics such as sardinellas and mackerel, meant for artisanal fishes. Now, according to the person who addressed this, he is Mr. Kofi Agboga. He says, we now import herrings and other fishes from Morocco and other places, all because of this illegal practice. It is depressing. Something is wrong. We must not wait for it to get out of hand. Now, according to
it's
him,
called natural resource governance. We are not able to govern and manage our resources well. We don't police our seas properly, our river bodies, we've left our forests. So it's really a deeper problem, much deeper problem.
And he says that the value of the fish sold at sea is between 40 million and 50 million, and between 52 million and 81 million dollars when it was sold to the local market.
Kojo,
let me take you to oil. Ghana bags $5.8 billion from oil. This is the Business Finder. Augustine Amoah writes that Ghana has bagged $5.88 billion from oil lifting between 2011 and 2019. According to the semi-annual report of the Petroleum Holding Fund and the Ghana Petroleum Funds, the total lifting proceeds and other income were distributed to the annual budget funding amount, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Ghana Stabilization Fund, and the Ghana Heritage Fund. So 5.8 billion now, in 8 years.
The other big story is Ideal Finance collapse. Yoko pursues Ni Kotejani for more access. This story is on citybusinessnews.com. It's in other papers as well.
Yes.
In fact, the graphic started with it yesterday. There was an interview with the Yoko boss yesterday, and the story coming from that is that Yoko says it is still in the process of tracking more assets and accounts owned by Council of State member and founder of defunct Ideal Finance Ni Kotejani. Yoko has already frozen some 31 accounts and some landed property of the gentleman as part of efforts to, among other things, retrieve funds from him to settle customers whose funds are locked up with the defunct company.
Well, since we are bagging some money from what Kojo read, let me tell you about the money that is being backed from the Kotoka International Airport Terminal 1 rent, because that matter ended up in Parliament yesterday.
And it's also quite controversial.
Yeah. Yes. So according to the BNFT, the Ghana Airports Company Limited has rented out the ground floor of Terminal 1 to a private aviation company, Magdan Aviation, for use as a logistics operations center for a period of 15 years from 2019, and it's expected to generate $5.3 million. Now, if you go to the daily graphic on page 16, there's more detail as to why this happened and what it is going to be used for, because the aviation minister was summoned to answer questions on this in Parliament. And according to Mr. Joseph Kofi Ada, the arrangement between Terminal 1 will be used by Magdan Aviation to provide logistical support for the United States of America military. According to him, the minister says that Magdan and the USA the arrangement between Magdan and the USA formed part of the Defense Cooperation Agreement signed with the US and approved by Parliament in 2018. But the minority in Parliament said that such an arrangement between a third-party private body and the US government, which had national security implications, was contrary to the Ghana-US Enhanced Defense Agreement, which required a state-to-state arrangement. Now, this question was posed by Mr. Kwame Agboja, who wanted to know the current status of the Kotoka International Airport Terminal 1. Well, they also asked questions about security and whatnot. According to Mr. Kofi Ada, they're in the process of upgrading the security, including scanners and whatnot at Terminal 1.
Speaking of Mr. Kofi Ada, there's a video circulating of allegedly he landing from a helicopter to submit his form.
Victims!
It's a very interesting video. Now, there's a warning to aspirants. This is a very good warning. Do not share meters for votes.
Yeah,
Eastern Region ECG to politicians. I think I need to read this story.
Read it.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has cautioned politicians in the Eastern Region, especially parliamentary aspirants, to desist from sharing unregistered meters to residents during campaigns and election season. According to management, politicians, in their quest to win the support of people in these remote areas, distribute unregistered and uncalibrated meters. The company says such actions create unnecessary confusion between the company and the users. The PR officer of the ECG in the Eastern Region, speaking to media and Kofredia, Madam Mary Shen, said such users of illegal meters will be prosecuted. Every meter must pass through ECG, and that's the policy. If you have about 1,000 meters, all of them must pass through us. Every meter must pass through ECG. So if a meter doesn't come through our quarters, it means it is illegal, and every illegality is a crime.
Where do the politicians get the meters?
Kojo, you know, in these days you can buy anything from anywhere. I mean, you know, the ECG has to standardize and calibrate their meter. I don't know what law regulates importation of meters.
Yes.
And I don't know whether every meter has to be brought in by ECG. But if, for example, you have your own independent power plant in your factory, you could buy a meter to put it there to read it for you. You get my point? So I don't know if the only authorized importer of meters is government.
I don't know whether you could just go on the market and buy a meter. If you want electricity from ECG has to come and do all the installation for you, especially connecting to the meter.
No, my point is there are companies that have their own power plants, so they could buy their own meters. So, and that doesn't, they don't have to buy from ECG. Or maybe some politicians have residual meters from old eras that they are keeping.
We need to investigate this because
we have to investigate it well.
Well. Now let me take you to health. So the Daily Guide says 2.4 million children were not
missed polio vaccines in 2016.
Yes.
Wow, which is a big problem because according to the story, the fact that we did this has resulted in 16 cases of polio type 2 being confirmed since 2019, 12 years after Ghana thought we had eradicated polio.
So what are we doing about this? Is there a new round of vaccination coming up?
Yes.
All right, now, Kojo.
Bernard, let me take you to coronavirus. 3 big stories. Coronavirus outbreak in China, no plans to evacuate Ghanaian students. This is according to the government. It says the government says it has no immediate plans to evacuate the 151 Ghanaian students resident in Wuhan. Now, Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service provide hotlines for the corona enquiries. The hotlines are advertised in the Ghanaian Times. Simple number 055 222 004. 055 2222.
So what when you see something?
Yes, if you need any help, if you need any inquiries, if you are not sure whatever is happening, just call the hotline.
Okay.
Now the Ghana Health Service is also warning Ghanaians to stop coughing in public. This is in the Chronicle.
Okay.
And the story says the Ghana Health Service has cautioned Ghanaians against indiscriminate coughing in public. As the service heightens surveillance to avert any possible outbreak of the coronavirus disease.
It's not even just coughing, Godfred.
Spitting.
People spit, urinate. Like we are just not concerned about what other people could contract.
Let me just give
from
you
our own conditions.
Let me give you
in
one
some countries, you can't spit anywhere.
Let me give you one final headline. China expels 3 foreign journalists over coronavirus article.
Hey.
So 3 Wall Street Journal journalists have been asked to leave the country.
Meanwhile, Akufo-Addo delivers State of the Nation address today. It will be live on Citi FM, Citi TV, and on Facebook. Watch out for that coverage later in the morning, right at 10 after the Citi Breakfast Show. Coming up next is the Citi Business News.